Hello and welcome to BrookesTV. I'm Laurie Rothwell.
And I'm Sonia Raphael. Coming up in this week's episode...
Is Oxford County Council pro or against a greener transport?
We look into the magical world of science and investigate its mysterious ways.
And why is this phone box so important to the residents of Bambury?
But first, we hear from the Oxford West and Abingdon parliamentary candidates for their views on development on Oxford's preserved Greenbelt. George Walker spoke to each of the candidates.
This is the Oxfordshire Greenbelt, a preserved area of land, but perhaps not for long. We spoke to parliamentary election candidates before the general election to see their opinion on this area. Layla Moran is the Liberal Democrat candidate for Oxford West and Abingdon. But what is the Lib Dem party's stance on Greenbelt development?
We believe we should be protecting the Greenbelt as much as we possibly can, and certainly that we should not be building on Greenbelt unless we've had a full county-wide review first. The current plans for the rise in houses in Oxfordshire is to increase to 100,000 houses. That's an increase of more than 40%. What we are saying is that by not building on the Greenbelt sites we've identified, that amounts to around 1.5% of that total. So you can't accuse anyone of not wanting to build houses. We do want to build houses, but we think that a 40% rise is far and beyond what is in fact achievable and necessary.
Last week, all of the candidates for Oxford West were brought together here at St Barnabas Church in Jericho. The debate was held by CPRE, the campaign to protect rural England, to ask candidates what they would do to protect the Greenbelt. Conservative MP Nicola Blackwood was first to speak.
But I don't believe that in order to protect the character and integrity of this area, it is right for me to oppose all development. I've opposed development where building on the Greenbelt would change the character of an area. That's why I've opposed the Northern Gateway since 2009. It's why I opposed Dorrick's development in Botley against a Tory council. It's why I opposed building in Cumnor Village and between Kennington and Radley.
Labour candidate Sally Copley voiced her opinion on the importance of protecting rural Oxfordshire.
What do I love about living in Oxford? As Bill says, I've been here about 10 years now, and I love being here. I love bringing up my family here, and I love it even more when it's days like today when the sun is shining. It makes me feel really lucky to be here. But I think it's about the difference between just being alive and just getting by somewhere and really living, and I think that's what being in Oxfordshire offers us.
Alan Harris, UKIP representative for Oxford West, was not present due to supposed threats from an unnamed source. We spoke to Alan before the debate for his thoughts on the Kidlington Airport development, which would infringe on Greenbelt boundaries.
UKIP's stance on developing against Greenbelt is not at all. Kidlington has not got the room for an international airport, and like I said, the road infrastructure is not up to having an airport here. The noise from the residents who live in Kidlington is just not on, and the people from Kidlington are really against this happening anyway.
Research from Natural England concluded that the Oxford Greenbelt is a vital environmental asset and one of the best means of protecting the countryside from urban sprawl. But with councils, landowners and developers all nibbling away at its boundaries, how long will it be before very little remains? I'm George Walker for BrookesTV News.
More about the Greenbelt later, when the Director of CPRE Oxfordshire will join us for an interview.
But now, Oxford County Council has recently revealed its new plans to implement completely electrical buses in the coming year. We sent reporter Taylor Altman to investigate.
Oxford has been moving slowly to a greener and greener future. In January 2013, the Oxford Bus Company started to implement a new hybrid electrical bus system. And now in a joint endeavour with the County Council, will be implementing a fully electrical buses in the coming year. This is not the first attempt of complete electrical buses in Oxford. 15 years ago, a similar operation was undertaken, but in the end was cancelled due to pricing issues. We want to talk to Luke Marion from the Oxford Bus Company to get an idea on how they are trying to prevent repeating what happened 15 years ago.
About battery technology's improved an awful lot over the last, I guess 25 years since the first trial. So you can store a lot more energy in the batteries. And I'm guessing air quality has become an even bigger concern than it was 25 years ago, 15 years ago. We've seen the low emission zone coming in Oxford, and there's more and more concern around the effect of diesel particulates from cars and buses and trucks, and what they can do to people's health. So there's an increasing need to look at this kind of stuff. It hasn't gone away. It's just that the technology is starting to catch up with the people's desire to see this sort of thing in action.
The council has always been pro a greener Oxford. We went to Councillor Ian Hudspeth to hear what the council has to say about the new electrical buses.
It's the next stage in sort of technology moving forward, and one of the things that Oxfordshire County Council has been very keen to do is working with the bus companies to get the best technology possible so we can have low emissions within Oxfordshire.
Even though electric buses seem like the greener option, they might not necessarily be. The average CO2 emission from a hybrid electrical car can go up to 180 grams per kilometre, which is a big step from diesel. While electrical cars may not have any CO2 emission post-manufacturing, they actually emit almost double the CO2 emission when being made. We went to the streets to get the people's opinion.
I think they're great. It's a step forward to being greener, definitely, and I always think that's great in a city. It's more of like a sustained, livable environment.
I'm Taylor Altman, and this is BrookesTV.
Our everyday lives are filled with science and technology, but how and where can you start learning about science? We sent reporter George Walker to find out more.
This is the Atom Science Fair in Abingdon that celebrates the last event of the month-long Oxfordshire Science Festival. The festival is a registered charity that aims to engage and educate people about science. The fair is a chance for companies around Oxfordshire to show their new technologies that are based on helping the planet.
Also, we've got inside the globe here, you see this trail of plasma. It looks a bit like lightning, because lightning's made of plasma. And the sun's also made of plasma. And at the Cullen Centre for Fusion Energy, which is who we are with CPRE, we're doing research into fusion, which is the process that powers the sun. So we create plasmas inside machines at our research centre, 10 times hotter than the core of the sun.
When you spin this round, it creates static electricity, which is transmitted by the magnetic field to the light, and the light only takes stuff coming in from one direction. So I won't work there, but if I do it this way, it works.
This leads us to the question: is science a difficult subject to pick up? And is it for this reason that fairs like this one are organised? We asked the opinion of the CEO of the Oxfordshire Science Festival.
Getting kids interested and choosing careers in science, technology, engineering, maths and STEM subjects is a real challenge. And if we think about the future of our country and what's going to sustain our economy, it's going to be technology, it's going to be innovation. So we need to get our bright young minds choosing that as their career options. And particularly girls, there are so many girls that get to sort of 12 or 13 and get totally turned off science, even though they might be really happy in a career in science and really, really great at it.
Is it true that within the science and technology industry, the majority of people working are male rather than female? In fact, these statistics show the majority of men are more likely to have followed a path in science and technology, except for biology subjects.
A big part of it has to do with really kind of things that get said to girls at school. You know, the way that we describe, teachers will tend to describe sciences to girls is that, it's going to be a real challenge, it's going to be really hard for you, whereas they say to boys, well, that's a great choice.
Earlier this year, Dr. Edith Sand, instructor at Towers Burglass School of Economics, stated that the classroom teacher's unwitting prejudice is a key factor explaining the divergence of boys' and girls' academic preferences. And continued, it isn't an issue of discrimination, but of unconscious discouragement. The hope is to see more of these fairs in Oxfordshire and to see more people getting involved with the technologies that will influence our future. This is George Walker for BrookesTV News.
In Bambury, this phone box has been creating an interesting social affair. We sent reporter Lam Wai Lok to investigate.
The West Phone Box outside St John Church in South Bar Street was doubled up as a miniature library since last summer, when shelves was installed and books put in for the people to lend and borrow. But BT posted a letter on the working phone box, threatening to remove the shelves on the 5th of March due to concern that they would fall and cause injury. The phone box library culture makes some residents angry. They have launched a Save Our Phone Box Library campaign on Twitter. Supporters tell BT Care they think this phone box library could not be taken down because it's really amazing for Bambury. Finally, BT and the Town Council has reached an agreement. Town Council will provide a new phone box and install it next to the original box. The new structure will have no phone, but will house books on safe. The old box will continue to use as a payphone. The council leader, Kiwon Marlon, said this proposal is the perfect solution. It's not unusual to find two web phone boxes side by side, and having a community library and a working payphone in South Bar will be a best of the both worlds.
We have contact with Town Council and Mr. Marlon for the interview, but have not got any responses.
Let's see what does the resident think of the solution.
I would prefer to leave the phone boxes as they are, as they're readily recognisable and have an image in the people's imagination, and I would like to keep that image.
That would be quite good, because I met the daughter of the guy who put in the original shelves, and it was done with all good thought that books should be shared.
Depend on the interviews conclude that phone box library may not be necessary. Although the majority of residents believe that this proposal is perfect. Is that a perfect solution for the phone box library? Time will tell. This is Log from BrookesTV News.
That's it for this half, but still to come.
Are local businesses being threatened by high street consumerism?
And how did Oxford Brookes hockey team do against Reading University? We are now joined in the studio by Helen Marshall, Director of the CPRE Oxford. Hello Helen, thank you for joining us. First of all, could you explain to us and our viewers what territories are part of the Greenbelt in Oxford?
So the Greenbelt goes around Oxford City and is not much of it is actually within the City Council boundaries. Most of it sits within the surrounding district councils. So you've got Cherwell, South Oxfordshire, Vale of Whitehorse and West Oxfordshire. So in fact there are bits of the Greenbelt within all 5 of those council areas. And it varies in depth, as it were, from the city limits out to different parts of the countryside, but incorporates places like Kidlington, to the north of Abingdon, around the sort of the Marsh and Toot Baldens in the south, and then up around the north of Oxford City itself.
So Oxford City Council has recently made plans to develop new houses around Oxford and have released a document that investigates areas within the Green Belt that have good potential for further development. How does this affect the Green Belt? What are the opinions of the CPRE about these plans?
Well, Campaign to Protect Rural England was instrumental in getting the Green Belt set up in the first place, so it won't surprise you to learn that we think that it should be permanent and left alone. And indeed that is what the rules about Greenbelt say, is that its key characteristic is its permanence. Oxford City has had long ambitions to expand over the Greenbelt, dating back decades. So this is just their latest go at expanding onto the Greenbelt.
So what are you going to do to stop such developments in the Greenbelt?
Well, all we can do really is to represent the voices of the public as best we can. And we know that the public in general is very supportive of the Greenbelt. It's one of the few bits of planning policy that they actually recognise and welcome. So we think the Greenbelt fulfils a very important purpose, not just stopping sprawl of the city out around the countryside, but forcing the city to look inside its boundaries at urban regeneration, and also protecting actually the setting and character of the city itself. It's a historic city, and part of that is its setting within the landscape.
So could you very quickly tell us if by stopping development in Oxfordshire, will this not affect the economy of the county and increase the housing problem in Oxford?
I think it's an absolute myth that building on the Greenbelt is going to sort out the housing problem. The problem we have is affordable housing, and that certainly needs to be addressed.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a real pleasure. Ever wondered if there's a balance between local and the mainstream stores on the high street? We sent reporter Hannah Myers to find out more.
Local businesses versus mainstream shops and corporations. Is there really a healthy balance between them on Oxford's high street and surrounding areas? The debate of whether Oxford is losing its originality due to consumerism and globalisation is hard and ongoing, with both the City Council and the public portraying evident sides of the argument. Although UK interest rates have been held at 0.5% for another month by the Bank of England, the fall in inflation throughout 2014 has raised the interest rates for both businesses and consumers, with rent prices going up. Oxford City Council has implemented rate relief for small businesses for properties with rent prices that don't exceed £18,000. But this is not granted automatically, as it's the responsibility of eligible businesses to apply for rate relief. A current exhibition at Modern Art Oxford, called Upward Mobility, profiles consumption and globalisation around the world. The artist Deborah Delmer gives us her thoughts.
It helps, but it really doesn't. You know, like, who does it help? That's the question. It helps like a few people. Really, when you see all these brands, it's like you I don't know if you've seen, but like there's this map that they made recently of like all these brands, and then how like all of these that you even think are competition are actually the same corporation. So like this like really goes to like the 1% of the world.
In recent years, renting prices have significantly increased in Oxford, which is said to have deterred local businesses. But what do the residents of Oxford think of this?
Well, it's the same as every other town, isn't it? You know, there's nothing really local here. It's all the same as everywhere else. Make it cheaper for shops to open and stay open, rather than keep, making it more expensive for the shops, because the rates and everything. I mean, the Covered Market, for instance, they were thinking of closing, weren't they? Because they just couldn't afford it, and it's terrible if things like that close.
I do, especially on Core Market. You see a lot of high-end shops down there. It's quite expensive, which brings it down for students, but you can't afford it, especially on student loans. I think we could see more government-funded independent businesses in Oxford, because the commercialisation here has gotten quite bad in recent years.
Has a city that was once a booming marketplace for independent businesses and tourism now losing its cultural independence and originality? The bigger question is, will the City Council act upon public opinion? This is Hannah Myers reporting for BrookesTV.
On 2nd April, the Autism Organisation held a World Autism Awareness Day in Bonn Square. We sent reporter Mac Y to see what was going on.
Every year, autism organisations around the world celebrate the day with unique fundraising and awareness-raising events. The organisers of the autism organisations have organised different programs of the day. Let's see how they celebrate of that day.
So people around the world are celebrating autism and trying to make people aware of obviously autism and the issues that people with autism face, and basically doing a celebration in public. So today particularly we wanted it to be about fun. We wanted something fun that our young people are interested in and would enjoy being involved in. And what we know is that a lot of our young people on the autism spectrum are fans of Star Wars. So that was the idea of having a Star Wars flash mob.
Beside the flash mob, there are different busking performers to perform their music and hope to have fun with the people in the street. On the street, there are some helpers who dress up with the Star Wars costume, pray with the people and help to raise money to the organization, and hope to help the autism people. Let's see how they feel on this day.
The atmosphere's been really good, everyone's been incredibly generous and every penny makes a difference, so thank you so much. The young people on the spectrum who were in the flash mob loved it, really enjoyed it, and Star Wars has been a really successful theme for us, so it's been amazing.
So this was a really good day to come down and just get to dress up and play and talk to people about a little bit about autism and Asperger's, but just basically to go and help everybody to just, I don't know, have a nice day. It's a beautiful, Oxford is a lovely city, and I think people running around with lightsabers dressed as Darth Vader and Yoda probably is a little bit different for this time of year. So it's been a really nice day.
This is a great, happy and wonderful day. Many people have fun and enjoy the day with the music and the flash mob in the Bonn Square. This is Z from BrookesTV, Oxford.
That sounds like a really fun day. I love Star Wars, and may the Force be with you. And now sports, where Oxford Brookes hockey team took on Reading University in their annual varsity match. We went to see how they got on.
On the 21st of March, Oxford Brookes Mixed Hockey hosted Reading University in their annual varsity match. Brookes got off to a good start, however the strength of the Reading team was already beginning to show, and they were soon making their first advance towards goal. Luckily for Brookes, the shot went wide. It wasn't long before Reading were making another attempt at goal, but again they were unsuccessful, with the shot going wide again. Reading's next one towards goal looked more promising, and after a fumble in the D and the ball hitting the foot of a Brookes player, Reading were awarded a short corner. Strong efforts by the Reading team continued to be cleared away by Brookes' defence, but not for long, as Reading was soon back and a coordinated cross into the D led to Reading's Ollie Kemp scoring the first goal of the match at 28 minutes, giving Reading an early lead. Brookes have a chance in the second half, however missing out on a goal as Reading defend. A spectacular save from the Brookes goalie saved them from another Reading goal, and the pressure remained on as Reading's Ellie Chapman made a break towards goal. Determined to stay in the game, Brookes start piling on the pressure, yet still have trouble finishing. Another speedy cross into the D granted Ellie Chapman a second chance and another goal for Reading at 51 minutes. However, Reading were not finished, and at 58 minutes, another cross into the D gave Ollie Kemp the chance for his second goal of the match, bringing the score to 3-0 and leaving Brookes feeling depleted. The match finishes Oxford Brookes 0, Reading 3.
I don't think Brookes really turned up, which is a shame. But no, I think Reading played really well, and hopefully looking forward to the rest of varsity. Yeah, it was nice, good, friendly team, all in the spirit of hockey.
And a really good end to the season.
Yeah, a good end to the season for everyone. Sun's come out. It's just a lovely day for it. Yeah, thank you for hosting us.
Cheers.
Brookes Mixed Hockey will have to wait until next year's varsity, hosted by Reading, for a chance to redeem themselves. This is Hebe Cockcroft for BrookesTV News.
That's it for this week. Remember, all of our previous episodes are available on the Oxford Brookes YouTube channel.
And if you'd like to get in touch, you can email us via brookestv@brookes.ac.uk. Goodbye.